Hi, this is Rick here in the studio. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Rick Surowicz Watercolor. At any time during the video, feel free to click on the link in the lower right hand corner to subscribe to my channel. And if you like the video, be sure to like it and share with your friends. If you want to learn more about my YouTube videos or my self-paced courses or online classes, you can click on the links that appear at the end of the video. This is the setup I'll be working with, and this is just a simple farm scene, and gonna focus on the big shapes first, and then worry about the little things. Sometimes we start worrying about individual trees before we see the whole shapes. So I'm going to keep this pretty simple, and I'm working on an 8x10 sheet of 140-pound cold press Watercolor watercolor paper, and working at about a 20-degree angle. So I want to work with gravity. And I'm just taking this is a 6 quill brush. This is a Princeton Neptune. That's a nice brush, nice soft brush. I'm taking a little bit of cerulean blue. I'm not too worried about any little clouds in the sky or anything. I'm gonna keep my sky pretty simple. So I have cerulean blue, and I'm gonna take a little bit of raw sienna. And I use a PB36 cerulean blue, and the PB35 tends to be a lot greener, so I can add my raw sienna, and it just tones it down a little bit. It doesn't really turn it green. So just making sure my brush is loaded, leading the bead of water down the page. It's fairly light value. And I'm going to work around some of these shapes. I'm going to work around the farm buildings and right to the edge of the trees pretty much. And I'm going to bring this down, and I could go all the way down. I'm going to do a little bit of I want kind of a soft edge, but I don't want it to really float up a whole lot, so I'm going to just stop there with the moisture. I could bring it down all the way. There's a little bit here where I'll pick up this bead of moisture where it hit where it stopped, where I hit the dry paper. So there's just a very simple sky wash, and light value. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of these background trees in. So I'm going to grab some. This is sap green. I like to use this color. I'm going to take a little alizarin crimson. So I'm working with a complement to move this more towards a semi-neutral, and I'll start dropping some of that in there. Let's see, get a little more red in this. I'm going to use a little pyro red too. It's a warmer red. I'll get a little, this is a royal blue. These are combinations I like to use. This will give me a cooler green. Again, I'm going to add some red, make that more neutral. I can just mix this up a little bit. And we'll just kind of hit the edge of a field there. And let's see. I'm going to keep a little raw sienna out there maybe. And we'll get it right alongside this silo. Now I have this, I'm going to take some gamboge maybe, whatever green or yellow you have, whatever green you have. Let's make that a little more yellow green. I'm going to take some Hansa and a little permanent green. And I'm just going to keep this light value here. Got like some kind of a large bush or a short tree or something right in front of this. I'm going to leave that in there. And now I'm going to come along the other side. This should be okay, but I'm not going to get any backwash. I'm going to put just a little bit right here behind this building. There's a little bit sticking up. I'm going to add a little bit more just to help reinforce the edge of that barn, working in negative space. And let's see. Get a little brighter green going in some of this, a little bit. Some of the edges of the building gets kind of lost in some of the foliage that's around it. So now I've got that dropped in there. I'm going to get a little darker green, kind of a semi-neutral. I'm going to add some alizarin crimson. Drop a little of that in here. I keep a clean edge and get that a little bit. There's kind of a soft edge. That's drying a little bit. Now I'm going to take a little bit of a richer mixture, a little more pigment in it, a little less moisture. So it's going to move less. I'm going to touch it a little bit here and there. Still going to give me some soft edges, but it's not going to move near as much as what it was. Before it started to move from saturated to being damp. Let's see, we'll get a little bit here. I'm not going to do too much more there. I think what I'm going to do is, let's see, I might come in here with, well, I have these greens. Just take my wash brush, and I'm going to start with kind of a yellow-green. We might get a little backwash here, but I won't mind it. It'll kind of be interesting for the tops of the field. If it does. Get some of that red, maybe drop in here. I'll still drop a little of that in there and create a better balance. Now we'll get a little like sap green and royal blue. Some more of the red in that. Probably a little dark. So we've got this there's kind of a bush here. It comes up. And get some gold. Gonna leave a few peaks of that white showing. Might splatter a little bit of color in here. Alright. Let's see. Some of this darker, cooler green. Kind of show where this bush is. And if I'm going to put that in there, I'm going to take a little of this cooler green and work a few other spots. You want to get it all the way to the bottom here. All right. So now I'm going to dry this, and I'll begin working on these structures. Okay, so that's dry. I've also cleaned my palette, and now I'm going to mix. I'm going to take this is an 8 round brush. I'm going to take a little burnt sienna, a little ultramarine blue, and I'm going to mix some neutrals here. This is neutral gray and leaning a little cool here, a little more blue over on this side of this little puddle. And this is a warmer mixture. So I'm going to start with this. So I'm working with just kind of light middle value, and a little bit of warm, a little bit of cool. So now I'm looking at these. I'm looking at the larger shapes. I'm not just looking at individual buildings, and I am, but first I'm looking at the larger shapes. Got both warm and cool and neutral. And we'll get a little bit of cool. So I'm looking at this first as, like I said, the larger shapes. You know, I don't start in by painting windows and doors, and some of these can become a compound shape. Go a little lighter here. This is a warmer mixture. What do we have here? So I want these, you know, you got these white kind of plastic arched little buildings there, and they're white plastic, kind of a whitish gray, and I don't want these to be the, you know, the bright white here, because I don't want to draw the attention so much there. So I'm going to gray those down just a little bit, and I'll probably should put a little bit right here. Okay, so now you can see I treated that as one large shape, and there's a little bit of warm, a little cool, and a little bit of neutral. Once again, I want to dry that, because I want to maintain those hard edges where I just painted. I don't want to start painting on it, because it's just gonna give me soft edges where I don't want them. Okay, so now I'll take a 6 round brush. I'm going to take a little darker version of what I was mixing there. Ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. It's a much darker value. I'm actually going to take a little bit of green and put in there, because we got some green vines. Now this is a much darker value. I'm glazing over this with. Take a little bit of water and soften that. So that's warm. Need a little better edge on that. I'm going to bring that into here as a warmer tone right there. And that's a little grayer. I got this. We'll go a little darker here, I guess. Gonna get a little of this green. Get a little darker value down here. Give a contrast here to show the edge of this smaller building. Looks like it could be a bush or something, or it's more vines growing up on the building. Give me a little darker. A little darker mixture here. I get a little smaller. I'm going to use my number 4 round brush. We'll just paint some of those windows in. Let's see what we have after I do that. It's a royal blue. It's a darker value blue. Take a little bit of this and glaze here, create more contrast between the two buildings, and I'm going to use some water and just soften this, gradate this value down a little bit. Got these little gizmos here. I don't want to go too crazy with these. Alright, now this, a little warmer. This is a dark value shape here. There's a window in there or something, or a door. I'm going to make that a little more obvious. Put a little bit of a cooler wash under here. And I'm going to take this burnt orange, Put just a little of that on this roof top just to kind of make it look like it's rusty. There's some of the gray. Just keeping this little paint, this little 8x10 painting pretty simple. I'm gonna take a very light warm wash over this rooftop here. I'm gonna leave that and put a little bit of a rust tone on this one here and there. A little bit of some gray. Alright, now let me dry that. Okay, that's dry. I'm going to take a brush here. This is a quill brush that I use. I like. Take some of this royal blue, a little of my burnt sienna, warm and cool. Let's see, I'm going to put a few dark value touches on this. Okay, I'm gonna get just a little darker. Use my 8 round brush. I'm gonna put a little bit of values here. Show just a little bit more, a little more activity going on here in these trees, not a lot. Take a tissue, take a little moisture off my brush, drag that along a little bit. It's just a touch of a vertical element. Maybe I'll arc these a little bit here, a few of these, so everything's not straight. Give it a little curved contrast with some curved shapes. Take some of this green. Just a little bit more with the ivy. And a little, just a little darker here. Some of that royal blue out here. And we'll go a bit darker. Gonna drag my brush a little bit. always like to throw a little bit of texture into this. A little bit on the sky. Probably be better if I put a tissue over that. Alright, so let me dry that. Okay, that's dry, and that's probably where I'm going to stop. So I'm keeping this very simple, just trying to show you, you know, how to treat some of the, approach a painting by just working with some of the larger shapes, and you know, working with values, working with different color temperatures, but keeping it very simple. So that's my painting, Simple Farmland.